Hi everyone, and welcome to another Adobe Live. You're here with me, Rachael, Presky, and Carina. And today we're having another session of Portfolio Power Hour, looking at editorial illustration today, which is something that we're both quite familiar with. But just a bit of housekeeping. If you are watching on YouTube, come on over to Behance where you can join in the chat, and that is be.net/Adobe Live. And you can join in the conversation. If anyone's got any questions for us as we go along, chuck them in the chat and we'll do our best to answer them, or just have a chat with each other and us. It's nice. But anyway, how are you doing today, Carina?
I'm good, and I'm super excited for another fun hour of our Portfolio Power Hour. And yeah, editorial is also a great topic, and yeah, I'm super excited for this.
So what today we both kind of picked different topics, subjects. So I had a look yesterday at BBC News and The Guardian, which I found quite useful for kind of like if you're trying to come up with some portfolio projects. When I was first starting out, I'd go onto The Guardian, find a piece that I thought could do with an illustration and create something along those lines. How did you go about coming up with an idea for yours?
First of all, it was very hard for me to pick one topic because there are so many great articles out there, and I really, it's kind of having an artistic mind, I guess. So when I'm reading something interesting, I immediately get some pictures in my head. So it was kind of a very, hard exercise for me to just focus on one thing. And I'm currently totally into food illustration. And I think that's also very interesting topic for the future, or in general, that's, I want to focus more on the future of food. And I found a very nice article about 3D printed food. So I thought this is the perfect fit for me.
Yeah, sure. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That they it doesn't sound that appetizing. I think you can make it look delicious.
Yeah, I think it's super interesting, and it offers a lot to find your own kind of interpretation.
Yeah, for sure.
What did you choose?
So I've chosen an article that was, I'm trying to challenge myself a bit. A lot of the editorial projects I've done have been really like feminine for magazines like Breathe magazine and Flow magazine, which is, I love those projects, and that's like totally up my street kind of projects. I wanted to kind of challenge myself a bit to do something a bit more serious. Probably is like the color palette I use is quite girly. So I'm trying to do something a bit different. I found an article about it's kind of slightly inspired by all the heat that we've been having in the UK, which
I'm
not I can't deal with that well. And also an article about redwoods in California, which they're trying to protect in Yosemite. And actually I went there for my honeymoon 3 years ago now, just before lockdown, and we went to Yosemite and they had all these massive trees, and they're incredible how giant these trees are. So it kind of spoke to me in that's really something that I care about. It's something I'd quite like to illustrate. So that's where I came up with. People saying I can't deal with the heat. And Sandrine's saying there's also nice illustrations in The Guardian. Yeah, there are. They're really great. And I think that's why in the past I've chosen to kind of try and illustrate something from The Guardian and then send it to the art directors. Never had a project with them because I think my work's too girly, and it's not the right fit, which is fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's also quite hard to find the right illustrator. Or I mean, as an art director, it must be very hard to choose the right illustrator, because usually you don't have that much time.
Yeah, exactly. And these, like the ones for like Guardian's newspapers and stuff, are the ones that are a really quick turnaround, whereas the ones that I've done in the past have like weeks.
Exactly. Yeah.
Girly magazines have weeks.
Yeah.
They are the ones. But yeah, a lot of the like newspaper. Also, I wanted to stay away from politics because I can't be dealing with that at the moment.
Same for me.
Sandrine says there's girly illustrations too. Sorry. There's some.
I'm super excited or I want to know if the chat has some experience with editorial illustration, because that's really something I'm always quite fascinated about. And it's always so much fun to look at other illustrators and their incredible work they've done, and also the great ideas. So please tell us everything you know about editorial illustration, and shoot all your questions right into the chat. We're here for you. And I think we can start, right?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, because we were saying just before this, it's like an hour is not long enough to do all of this. I mean, I should just pace myself and not do such a crazy, complicated one, but well, I can't stop myself.
Yeah, but I think that's
actually. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say the tight turnarounds. This is testing us. It's good.
Yeah, that's true. And also there is no art director telling us what to do.
Yes.
So that's also super special.
Very nice.
It is. Yeah, but I think it's very, I like the kind of editorial work where everything is so focused on one idea that you immediately get a sense of what the article is about.
Yeah.
And I think that's great.
Yeah. And we were looking at them for some inspiration before this, where people just come up with the most amazing concepts for editorial illustration. It's a really good place to start as well, if anyone hasn't wants to get into illustration just generally.
Exactly.
But there's some really clever illustrators. We were looking at one where there's like because it's so hot, it's going to get really hot in this country next week. I think it is for you as well, isn't it?
It is.
So the world, basically,
I don't want to think about it now because I'm really struggling with heat.
The world's getting really hot, which is really horrible. And we're not going to have a crisis right now, live. But there was a really cool illustration that Carina shared with me. It's like a barbecue, and it had a skewer on it, and it had the world and little bits of fire, and it's just a really clever use of illustration. And I love it when people come up with stuff like that, and I think I wish I could do that.
Yeah,
it's practice, isn't it?
It really is. And I think you have to find your niche as well. Like, I think on one point you have to accept that you cannot be good in every section of illustration, because it's a very you're also limited within your style, right?
Yeah, and it's quite a lot of,
I mean, in my case it is specialist. Like this.
Yeah, so like you get people who are just editorial illustrators and come up with amazing concepts.
Yeah,
I do love it because it gives you, a lot of the time you get a bit more freedom what you can do creatively, I'd say. Would you?
Yeah, that's true. And I think it's also nice to get out of your own comfort zone as well. So even, or especially when you're guided by an art director who has a specific idea or also knows the magazine way better than you are, then it's also very nice to have this kind of guidance within your style. And
because I think a lot of the time the feedback I've had has been on point. You're like, oh yeah, actually, why didn't I think about that in the first place? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
And then you think, oh, this is why they do that job. It's great. Yeah, it's just a massive industry, I think, as well.
Yeah, it really is.
It's really great.
But is there some kind of magazine or newspaper that you really want to get hired for?
I don't know, to be honest, because I think because I've had work with Flow magazine, they were like my pinnacle at one point. So I feel like I've completed it.
Yeah.
Not really, but that was who I wanted to work for. And it was great working for them because they came to me with an idea. And they keep licensing my images too for other things.
Nice.
So that's great. But yeah, how about you?
I mean, I really like the Wired magazine because I really love all the things about science and technology, and also this kind of mixture with lifestyle themes and topics.
Yeah.
So this will be an absolute dream project to work one day on an article for them. So we will see.
I can see it.
But usually when it comes to editorial projects, I'm working for lifestyle magazines.
Yeah.
Like you said before, more this kind of girly thing or food related. Yeah. But Sandrine dropped a nice comment in the chat because she says that a lot of people she's aware of who are featured in magazines have agents, and she doesn't know if it's part of the game. That's a good question. I think not.
No, I don't think so. I think it depends because some agencies do focus on editorial illustration. So then, yeah, in that sense, it would line up. If that makes sense. So I think Studio Pi, they are focused on editorial illustration because I think a lot of the time that company works with or is owned by some editorial things. But yes, good to know. Little tip. Yeah, when I had an agent, I had one project come through that was a magazine from an editorial illustration. That was an editorial illustration, sorry. Not very good with words today, so it doesn't bode well. But yeah, I don't think it's the be all and end all. If you don't have an agent, it doesn't mean that you can't get editorial projects.
I think a lot of art directors or art buyers are just looking at portfolios on Instagram, Behance, or websites. And I think they don't care about agencies in the end.
No. Yeah, I don't think so. I think maybe editorials. In my experience, I find it easier to, if I contact editorial people, I think I sent like 70 emails back in maybe February to different editorial potential clients, and I had three projects from it. So it's not. I find it it's a good industry because there's always work. And people, well, most of the time need. If it's a magazine, quite often they'll have one or two illustrations in each issue, so it works out okay. Depends on the client, and I think it depends on if your works
yeah, exactly. And I think also there is some kind of editorial list from the Association of Illustration,
Yeah.
right?
That's where I got
Yeah.
all of their contacts from.
That's quite nice
If
to
you're
have
interested.
a list with all the
Yeah, not have to
contacts
go
from the
and search.
magazines. Yeah, you then don't have to make your way through all the LinkedIn thing and get to know all the people.
Takes so much time, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
I was moaning about that earlier. I wish it didn't take so much time to do all of this. It's got to be done.
Yeah. And I mean, that's also part of the job, but
yeah,
it's quite hard to keep on track with all the administrational things as well as a freelance creative, right?
Yeah,
so
sure.
Yeah, we all know the struggle, right? Yeah. Oh, Sandrine put the link from the association into the chat. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
It's a very nice tip, and you can get a lot of contacts within this very nice website.
I think it's an additional help to get connected if you don't have the resources all the time. So many feature accounts on Insta, but such a chore to list and send things out to them. Yeah, completely agree. We'll find an easy way of doing it. So Stuart says, how many illustrations do you have to put forward for an editorial? That's a good question. It depends on the client, I'd say.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think I've had clients come to me and say, I really like this piece of yours. Can you basically redo it?
Yeah.
As this project. So, cheers. I was like, I'd love to think about something new, but fine. Okay. But yeah, they're very easy. So you can send them one idea.
But most of the time, you just got a few days to work on a piece. So time is very short. So most of the time they know exactly what they want. So you really have to be very precise. And I think that's the hardest part, or at least for me, it is the hardest part, because you don't have so much time to play around with colors or shapes or whatever. So you really have to focus on just do the work because
get it done.
Yeah, get it done.
But if it's like a conceptual thing, I'd come up with maybe 2 or 3, probably to send to the client. Come up with a couple before. So for this piece, I do it in a sketchbook first because it's so much quicker.
Wow, that's so nice.
Really crappy sketches. So
I love that you're
look at this.
Keeping up with your sketchbook practice. That's so nice.
Well, it's not a proper one. I just use it for sketching out ideas rather than anything finalized, if that makes sense. So I had these are my other ideas for this. Was like the world's on fire and people just walking by. So someone just walking, looking at their phone. Someone sunbathing while the world's on fire behind them. I felt like these are a bit horrible. I mean, I've gone with the world on fire anyway, but and then this was one I was like, just before I saw what Carina was doing, and I was like, no, how's this so cool? Like second guessing myself. So I was like, I need to come up with some more ideas. And this is people playing with the world. But so I find it easy to try and come up with loads of different ideas. God, there are some awful drawings in here too. Skateboarder. I normally would come up with a couple of ideas, whittle it down to the ones that I think are the best, then sketch those out properly and send them over to the client. Oh, we haven't missed some questions. Sandrine says, do you both enter awards, like the World Illustration Awards?
Yep,
Entered?
I did.
I've never been shortlisted, but you have, haven't you? Or longlisted?
Longlisted. And
Very
please cross your fingers for the shortlist.
Yeah.
No, I'm just
definitely.
kidding. There are so many beautiful and incredible projects and so many talented people. And it's just, it fills my heart with so much joy to just scroll through all the lovely entries. And it's amazing, amazing work and so much talent out there. It's insane.
Yeah.
But I think it really helps if you try to enter, or if you enter awards. So apply for all the things and send your work out there and just see what happens.
Yeah. And I think I find it really hard. So I used to find it quite hard, and not so much now. I've kind of try and separate myself from it. That if I don't get shortlisted or I don't get anything, it's quite disappointing, which it is anyway, but it just wasn't your year, or it just wasn't the right awards for you, or other people were better. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. And you never know, maybe one of the judges saw your work and reminds your name. You never know. It's like if one door closes, another one opens up, and you never know what will happen next. So go out there, show up, talk to people, send them your work, and try to just try to stay out there and
I think if nobody sees your work, they're not going to know that you exist. So
exactly,
you've got to be doing it, even if it's horrible and it feels awful when they don't accept it. Day to day, I think, or just accept it and move on.
And I think
it's not that easy.
Most of the time, it's not a matter of how good you are. It's just about if your work is the right fit for now.
Exactly. I did read a really good comment, actually. Someone said that I think I read it yesterday, and I can't remember who said it. My brain is not doing well. But they said that they enter awards, particularly the ones that they want the judges, just like you mentioned, the judges to see their work. So say it's like, oh, I really want to work with this client. The people are judging it. I want them to see my work. Send in for the awards, and you'll get it in front. And then I think as well, the more times someone sees your work, the more they're like, oh, they become familiar with it, and then in their heads you're more of like an established artist or illustrator.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I have a funny story about maybe you know this very nice, or one of my favorite websites. It's called Creative Boom. And one day I just messaged Katie Cohen, like, hi Katie, I'm a big fan of your work and this is what I do. I would really like to discuss a potential feature or collaboration or whatever, or just to get some feedback on the thing I do. And she was like, hi Carina, I remember your name, but I don't know from where. Are we friends on Twitter or Instagram? And then we had a very nice chat. And I think that's a good example to just be nice to people and show up and talk to them.
That's cool.
Because you never know what will happen next. And then she featured my work because she really liked it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What a tip. Look at that.
And Sandrine says there's also the Creative Boom podcast, and she really recommends it. And I do as well. It's a great one.
Oh, I had earlier. I'd saved this question from Stuart as well. So you ask the questions on where the piece will be, double spread or quarter page, a list of elements. So normally you'd get sent this is what we want from you. So if we want a full page, we want a half page, we want you to fit a spot illustration in this space. A lot of the Breed magazine ones, I should have got some examples. Oh, I have one. Look at that. Here's one I did earlier. So the Breed.
I love that you're so analog today. That's so nice.
There you go. Here, show and tell. I got sent where the text was going to be, and then this is the spaces that you have to illustrate on both pages. This was like a really basic one because I didn't have a lot of time.
Cool.
But yeah, so this was about pictures, and I think it was about people dealing with them in different ways. That's Team Breed. So it was like a kids one, but I was going with people being happy, people being measured, and then people being really sad because the plant's dead. But just like not very nice, is it? But yeah, so normally I'd get if it's something like this, you'd get like a spread and say we want you to fill in the space. But sometimes it will be, we've got this tiny space, like a Radio Times one I did was like this big thing when it actually came out. So they sent the dimensions and that was that. Yeah. Piece. So it changes. But we'll go back to Creative Boom podcast. I haven't actually listened to it, I don't think.
I try to. Oh, really? I try to listen to the podcasts like on a regular basis because I think it's on one point I've read a book. It's called Atomic Habits. I don't know if you heard about it, but I had the feeling that I wanted to get my life a bit more organized and to implement some kind of also creative habits for myself. And then I stumbled across this book and I really loved it. And there's one chapter where you learn how to focus more on your time and how you can use it. So I skipped Netflix and tried to listen to podcasts instead.
I like that.
Yeah.
I don't think I could skip Netflix though. Seems like a foreign concept to me.
It's hard. I know.
Yeah,
Oliver read it too. It's a very nice book. I can highly recommend it.
I've listened to another podcast that Katie was on and she was really good on that. And I said, I really need to listen to her podcast.
Was it the one from Closer and Closer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you listen to
also
that
very,
too? Of course you do. Yeah, theirs is great, I think.
Yeah, and that was the one why I sent the email to her, because she was talking about how important it is to follow up and to try to keep the conversation going. So because most of the time creative people send out their portfolios and then they are disappointed because they will never get an answer. But it's not that people are not trying to respond to them, but most of the time they are so busy that they are totally they have no time to respond. Yeah. So it's very important to follow up.
Yeah.
But not in an annoying way. Just always be nice.
Not like every day.
Yeah.
No, I agree. We Oliver's put the author as well. I might have to add that to my list too. Yeah. I need to get on with things like that. The problem is I spend most of my time looking after a child. I don't have time for it. I definitely think I think it was The Artist Journey was the most recent book I read about that.
Artist Journey? What is it about?
It's oh gosh. I read it a while ago now and I have the worst memory, so clearly didn't take much of it on board. It was good from what I remember. But that's no use really, is it, to people? Sorry. Okay. Be doing hourly follow-up emails, which is all of this then. I did actually, so I had a call from a project and she was like, oh, I'll send you an email of the brief, and I hadn't heard back from her, so I've been bugging her. But only weekly, not hourly. But that's probably because people forget.
Yeah.
Other stuff to do.
So I think it's important to not take everything very personal.
Yeah.
Like it's not about you. It's most of the time it's really about, people have no time because they have busy jobs and also they have a life, and
it's alive. Sorry.
life is going on, free time, friends, holidays.
Max, get out. That's what happens when you're at home. Sorry. Ooh, that's some interesting email messages. Yes. We yeah. Oh, see, now I'm like, this color doesn't work. Oh dear. How does everyone feel about what was I going to say? I've lost my train of thought again. Yep, gone. Does anyone here have experience with editorial at all? I think we did ask that earlier, so I assume the answer's a bit.
Please tell us.
Yeah. Or if you've got any questions. Some of them have been really good.
Okie dokie.
Also, I find it really hard to draw fire. I don't know about you. Struggles. Everyday struggles.
I think it's very hard to draw some fire, right?
But to get the right colors as well.
So, brush. Ay. So many brushes.
What are you going with today?
One of Kyle's
brush choice.
One of Kyle's halftone random dot brushes. I really love the halftone ones.
Yeah.
They always work. I mean, in my case.
They just always work.
They just always work. They are the right fit for any project.
Yeah. Perfect. I think Kyle's brushes generally work.
Yeah. Thanks, Kyle. Really.
Yeah. He's definitely listening.
It's so cool.
Yes. It's true. It says, am I playing with gradients a bit more in my work? Well, I like to. I don't think I'm very good at them yet. But I really love when people do nice. I think it makes it look a bit more contemporary. But I might do that. You've given me an idea. Thank you. I'm going to see. Have you tried anything new recently, Carina? Or anyone?
Really? Last week I was quite busy with some client work.
Cool.
But I mean, I really try to attend regularly on the Still Here, Still Life drawing challenge, just to keep my practice alive and to try new things. That's the only thing where I try to experiment a bit. And that's also the project I'm longlisted for within the World Illustration Awards. Yeah.
So was that a series?
Yep, it really is. Cool. So I think every 2 weeks they share a photo, and then you are free to use any kind of medium or interpretation of yours to, then you just share it on Instagram.
Have you been featured on the account?
Yep.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
That's so cool. That's also how I got into food illustration.
Yeah. I find Still Life really hard. Like I don't.
It really is.
Yeah.
And I hated it at school.
I haven't gone near it. Hate it so much. Yeah. But now you do loads of it.
Yeah, now I love it.
That's good.
Yeah, that's super good. But I think if you have your own kind of artistic freedom, then it's totally different. Because it's cool. Yeah. Most of the time it was super boring to draw just an apple and a pen lying on your desk. And now it's super fun. And you can learn a lot from simply observing things.
Okay. That's a very artistic thought.
Yeah.
Like a proper artist. Honestly, Bridger.
But do you have any sketchbook practice or anything that you try to do on a regular basis?
Nothing that I'd say is prescribed, if that makes sense. So nothing that I'd say, right, I must do this today. Because I find it I feel like it restricts me a bit too much. Mm-hmm. But I should probably do that more often. Because I think it works really well it's good for practicing, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
Just anything. I've just been trying to do some things that I'm like, actually, I really enjoy doing this kind of thing. So I've just been doing that recently, which works at the moment. I think. Playing with different colours. Because sometimes I struggle a bit to come up with a really nice colour palette that I think works well.
Yeah, I think that's one of the hardest things, to choose the right colors. But I bought the book you recommended I think 2 streams ago.
Yeah.
And thanks for the tip. It's a great one.
Good. Glad you think so. Something else I have here, because my desk is a mess. So everything. This one.
It's a really great book.
Yeah, it has thousands. This was recommended to me by she's called Nicola Clark. I think she's a graphic designer most of the time, but she lives down my street. It has loads of really nice color palette.
That's super cool.
But we were using these to create color palettes for terrazzo as well. They can be used for everything. Amazing. Peachy colors. Big fan of them. So many things to share today.
Yeah, it's nice. Full of information.
All on purpose.
I love it. It's great.
Sarah said, what's your least favorite thing to illustrate? It's hard, that, isn't it? It's a good question. I'm gonna say serious topics. Doing right now. I just find it really hard to create the atmosphere that I want. It might be because I'm not that great at texture. A lot of my work is very flat. So I think when I challenge myself, obviously I'm going to hate it for a while. And then hopefully I'll come out the other end. You have to trust in the process sometimes, don't you? It will be okay. We'll see. I've also been using really random brushes today. Most of the time it's pencil and then noise control. I don't know where to find noise control. FX. There you go. It's under my favorites though, because it is my favorite.
I just opened up my favorite brushes, or my saved ones. And most of the time I'm using the half-tone brushes from the Kalti Waxter collection. And one of my all-time favorites is the Big Boy brush.
The Big Boy brush.
Yeah,
it's a good name for
it. Yeah, it's really, it's a good brush.
Yeah.
And yeah, it has some kind of creamy pastel texture, but you can also draw very strong lines. It's a good fit for any project. I love it.
Cool.
Yep.
So we go into all. Carl Webster. Halftones. I have it.
Halftones are the best.
Oh, they have some great names, don't they?
Yeah, they really have.
Gloop. We're looking for the big boy. Sorry. Big Ben or Big Boy?
Big Boy. I don't know in which collection this one is, but maybe it's in the mega pack. I think so.
I've got halftones, is that right?
Halftones, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, it looks like they're in order.
And they are really nice to create this kind of analog copied touch. So if you really want to have this kind of, or screen printing touch or texture, then it's the perfect fit.
Like screen printing type thing would work really nicely for editorial as well.
Yeah, exactly.
The print side of it.
Perfect fit.
I can't find it. That's sad.
The halftone ones.
Yeah, I found halftones.
Halftones,
big.
Yeah. Maybe you're looking for the big boy.
Yeah.
Okay. I have no idea. Maybe they are in the spring. Yeah, spring 21 brushes.
Okay.
I think it's the first one.
Oh, I don't have the spring 21.
In the spring 21.
I have spring 22. I have winter 22. Fall 21. But not spring. There you go. If anyone wants to find it. Fresco does need a search button function for brushes. I just wasted about 5 minutes, sorry.
What?
I'm looking for it. What a shame.
I thought we just have 5 minutes left, but we still got some time left.
That was me, sorry. Me just being useless.
Panic mode on.
Oh, sorry.
No worries. So
this is my problem. I don't draw trees very often now because I find them really hard to draw. I can't make it look like a tree. No, we're going to forget about that one. Oh, we've got to make the search function happen, apparently. Can we do it? I think Tim's your best bet here.
Yeah.
For bug him.
So, but I think I just have to answer the question from before, like the last editorial I was working on was an article about, was for an article about birth control. And it was also quite hard for me to, because it was about how hormones are affecting mood swings.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very hard for me to reduce all my thoughts and feelings into one picture.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, so this was quite hard, but it was turned out to be a very nice one, and in the end I was quite proud of myself. So
Good.
And they really liked it. Yeah.
Perfect. Is it out yet?
Yeah.
Great. Is it on your Instagram?
Not yet.
I'm just seeing it.
Yeah. No, but I will, maybe I have time this week to upload everything on Behance and on Instagram.
Yeah.
I think I just took a story like, woohoo, it's finally out.
Yeah.
Oh.
I had one for Pets at Home magazine a couple of months ago, which was lots of different dogs. And I had like the best feedback I think I've ever had. I don't know if it's appropriate for this stream, to be honest, but it was a dog that used to apparently peed on stuff a lot, a boy dog. So I had to try and illustrate that. So I did it with his leg cocked up, but from behind. And I did a little star where its bum would be. And my feedback was, we really liked it, but the client didn't like the bum hole. That's just the best feedback I've ever had. So I had to get rid of the bottom. As you can imagine. Yeah. It's great feedback.
Yeah, that's true.
I didn't like the final illustrations either, so I haven't yet. But I probably should. I had to do them animated actually too, which is quite cool. So they have a digital version of their magazine, so I had to animate a version of it.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
It's kind of some extra glow for your work.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I had a little puppy wagging its tail. Yeah. It's a bit different to what I feel like my style changed a bit after I had that project, so I haven't
really.
That's why I haven't shared it. Yeah. I don't know why. Just doesn't feel like my work. Do you ever have that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think sometimes, or you cannot always be happy with all the work you've done, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah. We all try to do our best, and sometimes it is our best, and sometimes it is maybe not our best. I don't know. Mm-hmm. And I really have to say, sometimes I'm struggling with being pushed in one direction, especially when you work with new clients or work on new projects. Then sometimes people have a very specific picture in mind, and it's sometimes I find it quite difficult to talk about the same thing. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Like be on
I
the
also
same
had,
page.
yeah, and once I had a very hard conversation with someone who wanted me to copy another illustrator's style.
Oh,
and I was like,
no.
no, I don't do this, because why should I?
Yeah.
And they were like, but yeah, the other one has no time to work on this project, and we thought about, you're free, can you do this for us? And I was like, no, I can't. So, and they were like really giving me a hard time, because
Pressure.
we ended up like, they were thinking that I don't want to earn money. And I was like, it's not about the money, it's about my kind of working ethics. Like, no, I don't do this.
And also, I think sometimes if you get asked things like that, it's like, I'm never going to be able to do it justice anyway. Like, if you don't like my style, and someone who's honed their years and years and years, like people do, you can't then say, oh yeah, I can do that in 5 minutes. Or it's just, that's not how it works. Does that make sense at all? You know?
Yeah, this was really hard. So I don't know if someone maybe in the chat has some experience with dealing with clients which are trying to which are trying to push you in another direction.
Yeah. I think there's a special case if someone comes and says, we want this other person's style.
And I found it quite rude, to be honest.
Yeah. Surprising,
and
isn't it?
Also not really fair. Was not so cool.
Oh well.
Okay, so now there is a tomato coming out from the printer.
Oh dear. I think that's one of the best things about this job. It's very random, isn't it? What are you drawing today? Oh, dog's bottom. Or printed tomato. Sandrine says, sometimes you just can't do it. Not your skill set, not your budget. She finds increasing rates drastically does the trick. That's a good point. Sometimes you find like clients just, oh, I don't have any money, blah, blah, blah. And then other clients, you think these guys aren't going to have any money. And then they do. And you're like, oh, God, I didn't want that in the first place.
Yeah.
Oh, well. It's not a problem, is it? As long as you're being paid well for it.
Maybe I'll add some more yellow.
Oliver said, sure, I can do that for you. It'll be 1 million per hour.
Yeah.
That's the way to go. So this is a really expensive illustrator. This is the greatest tip. I have an iced coffee today, and it's not like it's cold because it's already cold, so I can still drink it. Happy with myself. Oh dear.
How much time do we have left? Oh, 5 minutes.
I know. Still got a lot of work to do.
Yeah. Here it is.
If anyone has any questions, send them over quick.
But I think I'm almost done.
Of course you are.
How about you?
No.
No.
A long way off. I think I've been trying to do a bit of texture to make it more like fiery.
Oh, nice.
Make it a bit more.
Now I can see it. Wow.
I must be really blind because I have to zoom in really far to see stuff. I didn't think my eyesight was bad.
But I really love the green and the pastelish orange. It's very nice.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. See. Keep going. It's got a way to go. Still got to finish the guy or woman. Yeah. I hope it does the trick on the concept. We'll see. I like using textures sometimes though. I very rarely use them in my work normally, except for some of this like noise control. Fun.
Yeah, but textures are great.
Yeah, for sure. I just don't think I'm good enough at using them.
So I'm adding some more details. Some rings. And I think another good tip when it comes to editorial work is that you really try to keep your layers in a very nice structure, because when you have to change something, you will save so much time in the end. Especially when you get some revisions and they ask you to, okay, can you put the tomato over here as well? And then you just have to copy and paste the layer. And otherwise, if you don't...
I try not to let people, I know this is bad. If I send them over a sketch version, if I think they'll maybe make changes afterwards, try not to let, once it gets to the finished stage, I'm kind of like, please don't change it because it takes too long. Do that. Just sometimes if they were going to say, well, can you move these over a bit? I'd be like, oh God, give me strength. No, it's fine.
But I know exactly what you mean. So try to keep everything in a nice structure and order, just to save some time afterwards. So,
how are you doing? Are you done? Of course.
I think so.
Every time. Just how you do it in an hour. No. Serious skills. Just gonna have to quit.
So maybe I will add some more tomatoes, but I change the background color a bit.
I like it.
In the end. But yeah, it looks some kind of girlish with that, with the purple and some kind of...
I think it's very you.
Yeah?
Yeah,
that's good to know.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about yours.
I've got lots to fix. It's a mess right now. We'll get there. This is the kind of thing I spend ages like, I'm gonna get this done in an hour.
Oh wow, but it looks amazing. Super cool.
We'll see. Hopefully it comes out okay in the end. Keep going. And then we'll share them.
We will share them
Yeah.
on Instagram. Yeah, of course, or Behance.
Yeah, for sure. But I think there's a break after this, isn't there? A couple of weeks.
Yeah.
No more Adobe Lives for a while.
Summer break.
So everyone have a great time. Great break. Great summer. Hopefully we can enjoy the sun. It's just rained here, which is a dream. Yeah, so hope you all enjoy the sun and it's not too horrible. Yeah, have a great couple of weeks. If anyone has any questions for Editorial, you can send them over to us as well. Yeah. It's great chatting with you all today.
Thanks so much for all the nice tips, also from the chat with the book recommendations and also the podcast tips. And thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.